Yeah, just in your room. All right, guys, I'm here with Jeremy. Jeremy's a client that I've been working with. Pretty much like all my clients, they kind of become friends, really more than they do become clients, because I learn so much about everybody, and I really love the detail about everybody that I work with and what makes up kind of their daily life and what goes on. We've been together, like we're dating, about a year and a half or so.
About that. Yeah.
Something like that. I just, like, interesting thing, one of the coolest wives ever, his wife contacted me before Christmas, and that was his Christmas present from his wife, was setting up and working with me. And I was so, like, blown away. I remember getting an email, being blown away of her contacting me, and that's what she wanted to do. Put some bourbon in here. That I think I just told her, I said, I don't even care if you pay. That's just really freaking cool. So we're going to work it out no matter what. But, I don't know. Is there any certain thing that kind of, because I was just a guy on the internet. I mean, I'm not, like, now we're friends and we talk and we know things about each other's family. Before that, what was it that kind of made you say, this Clint guy's interesting?
So I went to grad school at Purdue, and you had all the stuff on Elite FTS at the time.
Right.
And I remember there was a video, I think you had a box squat like 820 something.
Yeah.
And you got it up and you racked, you go, woo, beard power. That has stuck with me. And I shared it with everybody. And then you had the 8 Up videos, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you started mentioning things. I was like, check. You had one of them, I started looking at it, you go, and if you're looking that up now, I was like, all right. But circle back to the wife thing. I had told her, because we had been emailing back and forth before that. And I said, hey, for Christmas, what I want to do is, like, just get some money and get some training. Never thinking, ever, she would just go ahead and do that. And I think it was Christmas Eve that everything finally went through. She gave, because we have a shared bank account. She goes, whatever you do not look at the bank account. And I go, like, what did you do? She's like,
That sounds like me.
She's like,
don't look at the bank account.
She's like, it'll ruin your Christmas. She's like, all right, I won't look at it. So I think we had just finished giving the little guy a bath, because he was 1 at the time. And she's like, okay, you can check your email. And you had emailed me the first time.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away.
Wow. So, that's wild to me, because I know that, like, it's strange, because I'm always trying to develop ideas for videos, and the videos that I think will turn into me connecting with somebody is always the video. I'm working on one right now about how to health-proof yourself before you decide, hey, I'm going to go crazy with gaining weight, or I'm going to go another step in my training. And I've been working on this concept for several months, and I'm trying to put it together, and I'm thinking those are the concepts that will turn into letting people know maybe that I'm the person that can help them. And it's so wild that the 8 Up videos that I made years ago are the ones that really got people's attention and make them think, like, you know what, that's me. Because, I made those videos because most of those things I made in the 8 Up video were things that I either do or have done, or close friends that are nut jobs do. But every single one of them was true. And I think it's wild, because so many people have been able to say, you know what, I can relate to that, because that means something to me. You don't go to a commercial gym. You have a home gym.
Yep.
And what time of the day do you normally train?
So I'm usually out of bed by 3:30 in the morning.
The sun's not up by then.
Yeah, I get to greet the sun most days.
Because I'm usually going to bed at that time. So a lot of times I'm waking up in the morning the same time you are waking up, but you're waking up and going to the gym, and I'm waking up to cook food for my family for lunch.
I usually get up about 3:30. I'll get a drink around. I'll try and get like one of these in. Try and get like 5,000 steps in for the day because I used to have a job that was outside and I was moving a whole lot. Now I'm in an office, so I'm standing at a desk or kind of walking around just a little bit. I still aim for my 10,000 steps a day, even on non-training days. So in the morning I get up, I do some cardio, just kind of get the blood moving and everything, and then finish one of these, fill it up again, kind of sit down for a minute, collect myself, and I head out to the garage. So I start my warm-up usually somewhere between 4 and 5 in the morning.
Wow.
And then I'm cooking. I hit that, come in, and immediately start breakfast because I want to try and have everything done by the time the little guy wakes up, so I can be awake because he's like me. He wakes up, he's ready to go. My wife wakes up, and 45 minutes later, she's ready to go. So if I can be up and ready for him and everything, that's an easier transition for him. So.
Well, I remember some of the first, because like normally I get contacted by someone on email, and then I start asking questions because I don't want to say, yeah, give me your money and let's go.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to make sure that I can actually help you. Yeah. And that was one of the first times in a long time that I was going back and forth with your wife, trying to make sure that I didn't want your wife to throw away money.
Yeah.
And then me say, you know what, I don't think I'm the right guy for your husband. I think there's somebody better. And I remember her saying, we've got a newborn. We're under a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. I remember her saying he doesn't have time to train, and training means a lot to him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the thing for me that clicked, like, we've got something in common.
Yeah. Yeah.
Training means a lot to you. And you're not a professional athlete. You're not a big competitor. You are a home gym lifter with more than a full-time job, with a family, with kids. Yeah. And one of the most important things in your day is training. Yeah. And it needs to be a success. Yeah. And I remember getting those emails from her, and I'm just like, this is an opportunity to either do things good or fail. Yeah. But I get wrapped up in all my clients. I get chill bumps thinking about it. But I get so connected to everybody and their stories. And then that's one of the interesting things for me. Like all of my clients, they deal with, had a client that got married this year. We had to plan everything around the wedding. And this crazy guy, his goal, he began, this guy, hypothetically in this room, began with his goal of, I want to lose weight and look good for my wedding photos, which changed to, I want to be as jacked and as big as possible for my wedding photos. And he was taking neck measurements and bragging them. So I don't know if he just decided being ripped was not the answer, so getting huge was the answer. But, you know, it's odd because if you guys are relating to the 8 Up videos, I'm ending up relating to my son kept me up all night. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember all of your emails the last couple of weeks where all of a sudden you're the full-time dad because your wife was gone.
Yeah, so we decided to wean him finally, and she said the best thing we could do is pretty much, I'm gone, so it's not an option. And my niece had a ballet summer intensive in Vegas, so she's like, I'm going to go out and help pick her up. I was like, all right, cool. So it was me and the little guy for 3 days.
And that's, you know, my wife travels all over Europe all the time. She's gone for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and it's just me and the kids. And just, if you see me training during those 2 weeks, it was hard because I was up at 6:30 getting the kids off to school. I took a 2-hour nap, picked them up from school, cooked lunch, took them everywhere all day, took a 2-hour nap during the day, went outside and trained, came back in, slept a few hours, and just repeat for 2 weeks, and you just get to that shut. It's so wild for me that you guys end up relating to the 8 Up videos, and then I end up relating to the stuff that you guys go through on a daily basis. So I just want to ask. I want to ask 2 questions. I want you to say something positive, if there is, about working together with me, and then I want you to be honest. Absolutely honest. This is really important, and say anything that's a drawback or a negative or something that I'm always doing that's a negative with what I do.
Positive is, man, it's hard to pick like just 1 or 2 things, but it's not just getting a program, because I don't know about anybody else, but I was trying to put a little bit in my review email. It's like, hey, here's what's going on. Give me a touch base with everything. And you respond to that. So it's like, I look forward to that every Saturday. It's like, all right, when's it going to come? I'm sitting there, I'm chomping at the bit for that email. Not just so I know what I'm doing, but it's like,
and that is important. That's part of your life as well. Mm-hmm. You are not 18 years old with nothing to do except to go train. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with all of this in a daily life, and like I have to take that into consideration. How are you going to recover this week? Because I began you on a program to where every training session was this long. Mm-hmm. And then now that I'm getting to know you better in your life, and you're like, hey, this next week is going to be rough. Mm-hmm. Your training session needs to be this long, based on your recovery.
So that's a big positive. And then another big positive is I have exercise science background. I did the coaching. At Purdue, I was in the exercise physiology and stuff departments. So I have that background. To not be writing those programs, take that out. I think it was Mike Robertson said one time, like, it's nice to be able to have someone else do my programming so I don't have to worry about that. And there's also that accountability of, if I'm writing this, like, I can skip this. That's not that big of a deal. But now it's like, I look at it, it's like, this is important. Like, I know when things are not important because of the way they're listed. Mm-hmm. It says optional or something along those lines.
Right.
But it's like, the things that have the most writing, those are the important things.
Right.
And so I know what I need to do. And that accountability is a big thing. And so that's also a big positive, is being able to, like, okay, I don't have to turn my brain on for this. It's just follow the steps. So that's huge.
Something negative. You can hit me hard. I don't mind. You got to be a negative. I had a client this past week, a potential client contacted me from Austria, asked a bunch of crazy questions, and I promised him if he needed it, I will find a client that gave me a good review and a client that I appreciate who will give me a not so good review. So with any job, you go stay in an Airbnb, you can find something, anything.
I don't really have like any big like, oh, this is a big negative. There's nitpicky things. So sometimes, like with Evernote, the way we communicate with programs, that can be a little finicky. It's just like, it's like a small pebble in the shoes.
Yeah, I write everything on an Evernote software program, and then I try to publish that and send that to all my clients. And I'm not for sure if it was the best way 10 years ago. It may not be now. But yeah, sometimes, a lot of times it gets all out of whack, or it doesn't work for me, or.
And that's not really a hard thing. Sometimes, like when you were sick earlier, it's like you let me know, but at the same time, it's like,
what do I do?
Not only what do I do, it's like, hey, do you need me to hold, like, just like maintain? Like, I'm always willing to just maintain. If you just like, hey, I need you to maintain for a couple of days, cool, not an issue. Like, I'm willing to work with that. Just let me know. And so, that
would be one of those things where I should probably always include an optional day. Mm-hmm. And I have for a while included saying, okay, next week, the plan is roughly, that way you could go in. So if I was a day late, you should be able to get, totally legit. I will work on that. I need to work on that.
Because I know life happens. If it's just one of those like, hey, I'm in a rough spot. I just need you to maintain for a couple days. Cool. I'm going to do the first couple days here, and I'll touch base with you when I get to that point. If we need to adjust, we're good.
And I hate doing that with you because you are never late. Like the clients, you are always a couple days late, and then like you know who you are. I had a client, I'm talking to the camera, not you guys. I had a client that he is on week 12, and at least 8 of his 12 weeks have been urgent emails. I'm training today at 6. And 6 o'clock his time is 2 a.m. my time. And so all I have to do is tell my wife, you know that urgent guy? She's like, yes, I know the urgent guy because I've heard everything that you've said about him. But like people like you and Mike and all of you guys that are here, it's always like you're always in touch, you're always on time, and then I hate being late for you guys. That absolutely makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. Man, I appreciate it so very much. So glad to have you. We're going to